What happens when a CEO puts on a groomer's apron and realizes his company forgot how to treat its gentlest customers? Harlan Foster stood just outside the back entrance of one of his pet grooming centers, wearing a faded maroon hoodie, khakis with a bleach stain on one leg, and a black baseball cap pulled low. His beard was heavier than usual, dyed a darker brown, and he wore thick, rimmed glasses he didn't need. Even his voice had changed, slightly softened, rougher, like a guy who spent more time outdoors than in boardrooms. This was store number 16 out of 20. He'd bought the grooming chain 8 years ago from a retiring couple who ran it like a family business. At first, he'd tried to stay close to that model, warm, personal, community-focused, but over time, things changed. Growth brought in new managers, new systems, and more distance between him and the day-to-day. He hadn't met most of the staff in years, and with turnover being what it was, many of them had never seen his face. He'd been getting mixed reports about this location. Numbers were solid, but customer reviews didn't match. Several complaints mentioned rude behavior, long waits, and cold service. He'd asked the district manager, Sylvia, about it. She'd brushed it off, saying it was a tough area, hard to find good help, so Harlan set up a plan. He created a fake identity, Rick, a former dog walker looking to learn grooming. A friend at HQ helped him slip into the system as a trainee. The store manager, a woman named Carla, had never met him. She'd only seen the name come through her inbox with a short blurb. New hire, part-time trainee, starting Monday, no prior grooming experience. That morning, when he walked in, the front lobby smelled like wet fur and artificial lavender. The place was clean but felt stiff. No music, no chatter, just the low hum of clippers and the occasional bark. "You're the new guy," Carla came out from behind the counter, arms crossed over a gray company polo. "Yep, Rick. Good to meet you," Harlan said, offering a hand. She didn't shake it. "All right, Rick, you'll shadow Mia. She's one of our juniors. Don't get in the way," he nodded, hiding the flicker of irritation in his chest. Carla turned back to her computer without another word. Mia, maybe 22 or 23, had her hair in 2 tight braids and wore a smock covered in faded paw prints. She gave him a small smile. "Hey, I'll show you the basics. You ever bathe a dog before?" "Once. My neighbor's poodle, kinda just got both of us soaked," she grinned. "That's about right. Come on." They started with bathing, then drying, then brushing. Mia was patient and calm, guiding him through each step. She talked to the dogs like they were old friends, calling them by name, praising them when they sat still, giving gentle reassurance when they didn't. Harlan noticed how the animals seemed to respond to her the way a squirmy husky settled under her touch, or how a snappy terrier let her trim its nails without protest. But not everyone operated that way. Around noon, a couple came in with a golden retriever named Max. The dog was visibly trembling, tail tucked, eyes wide. Carla came out of the back and took the leash. "He's a little nervous," the woman said, stroking the dog's head. "He'll be fine," Carla said flatly, already tugging Max toward the grooming area. "We're on a tight schedule." Mia stepped forward. "Do you want me to take him? I've worked with Max before." Carla didn't even look at her. "I've got it." The dog resisted, digging into the floor with his paws. Harlan watched as Carla jerked the leash harder. "Hey," he said, trying to keep his voice even. "He's scared. Maybe let Mia. You're a trainee," Carla snapped. "Stay in your lane." Max let out a low whine. Harlan clenched his jaw but said nothing. He wasn't here to blow his cover, not yet. Mia stood frozen for a moment, then quietly walked over to a small shelf, grabbed a stuffed squeaky toy shaped like a duck and crouched beside Max. "Hey, buddy," she whispered, holding out the toy. "You remember this guy?" Max sniffed it, tail twitching once. Mia gently scratched behind his ears. "We're not gonna do anything scary today. I'm right here, okay?" The dog's trembling slowed. He took the toy in his mouth, then slowly walked alongside Mia as she led him to the back. Carla watched but said nothing. Later in the break room, Harlan sat with Mia at a small table, eating a granola bar and sipping water. "You're really good with them," he said. She shrugged. "I just know how it feels to be scared and not have anyone listen." He looked at her. You ever think about becoming a lead groomer? She gave a half laugh. Carla won't promote anybody. You either stay quiet or she freezes you out. Harlan filed that away. The rest of the day, he saw it play out again, Carla rushing jobs, snapping at workers, brushing off customer feedback. There was a quiet tension in the air. No one smiled unless a customer was watching. 2 groomers left early, citing headaches. Mia stayed late, finishing up a nervous chihuahua whose owner had forgotten to mention the dog had epilepsy. As Harlan cleaned up the back room, he watched Mia gently lift the dog into a carrier, whispering soft words that only the dog could hear. He stepped outside into the cool evening air, pulled off his cap, and ran a hand through his hair. Something was broken here. And tomorrow he was going to start fixing it. The next morning, Harlan arrived 15 minutes before opening. The parking lot was still half empty, morning fog hugging the asphalt. He waited outside the back door until Mia arrived, pulling her bike up beside the dumpster. Her hoodie sleeves were pulled over her hands, and her breath showed in the air as she locked the frame to a rusted railing. You beat me, she said, surprised. Figured I'd get ahead, start cleaning clippers, Harlan replied. Mia tapped the code into the back door keypad and they stepped inside to the faint hum of fluorescent lights. The silence was heavier than yesterday. No one else had arrived yet. I usually open with Lewis, she said, checking the clock. He's never late. Harlan didn't ask who Lewis was. He'd memorized the staff schedule the night before. Lewis was the senior groomer on shift today, supposed to arrive at 7 to prep for the first appointments. It was now 7:12. Mia pulled her phone from her pocket and typed quickly, glancing toward the front. I'll get the dryers warming, she said. Harlan opened the grooming drawers, sorting through shears and brushes. A few were dull and he set them aside. The blade oil bottle was nearly empty. By 7:30, the lobby lights were on, and Carla arrived through the front door with a coffee in each hand. She didn't acknowledge Harlan or Mia, just dropped her bag behind the counter and started typing something on the store tablet. Harlan walked over. Lewis isn't in, he texted, she said without looking up. Said he's not feeling great. Is someone else coming to cover? There's no one else on call today. Harlan glanced at the schedule taped to the wall behind the counter. Mia was the only other groomer scheduled until noon. Carla was listed as manager only. We've got a full slate this morning, he said. We'll manage, Carla replied. Or we'll reschedule, not my problem if people don't show. Mia stood by the back, tightening her apron. Her posture was different now, shoulders up, jaw set. She didn't complain. She didn't look at Carla either. The first dog arrived at 7:50, a Labradoodle named Rocket, scheduled for a full groom. Harlan offered to bathe him while Mia started prepping the next appointment, a Sheltie with matting behind the ears. By 8:30, the lobby was full. 4 dogs in crates, 2 more arriving within the hour. The dryers buzzed constantly, and the air grew hot and thick with fur. Mia moved between tables with quiet focus, checking notes, adjusting blades, keeping one eye on the clock. Harlan stayed in the washroom, rotating between bathing and drying, trying to keep pace. At 9:15, a man in a blue windbreaker stepped through the front door carrying a small black pug. Harlan was rinsing suds from a spaniel when he heard the raised voice. No, I want someone who knows what they're doing this time. Last time his nails were cut too short and he bled in the car. Carla was at the counter, arms folded. We have limited staff today, she said. If you're not comfortable, you can schedule for another week. I've already waited 2 weeks, the man snapped. I want it done properly. Carla turned toward the back. Mia, this one's yours. Mia walked out, wiping her hands on a towel. Hi, I can take care of him, she said. What's his name? Benny. Don't touch the back left paw, it's sensitive. The man handed her the leash without another word and left. Mia crouched down to Benny's level, speaking softly. Hey, Benny, you're all right, little guy. Harlan watched from the doorway. Carla had already turned back to her screen. By 10, there were still 3 dogs waiting to be groomed. Carla hadn't touched a clipper. She occasionally walked through the back, glancing at her watch or telling Mia to hurry up. When Harlan offered to take a dog out to the owner, Carla stopped him. "No trainees handling customers. Liability?" "I've been here 2 days," he said. "I can carry a crate." "You're not certified," she replied. "Stick to brushing." He didn't argue, but he took note. At 11:40, Mia was finishing a schnauzer when her hand slipped. The dog jerked slightly and she nicked the edge of its ear. A thin line of blood appeared. She froze. "Damn it," she whispered. Carla appeared within seconds. "What happened?" "It was my fault. He moved." "Of course he moved," Carla snapped. "You didn't secure his head." "Now I've got paperwork." "I'll fill it out," Mia said quickly. "No, I'll do it. Get started on the next dog." Harlan stepped over. "He's been here almost 2 hours. Maybe we let him settle before rushing another groom." Carla turned to him. "You don't give input on pacing." "You're not supervising anyone." Mia didn't speak. She just moved to the next table and pulled the dog's chart. By noon, her hands were trembling slightly as she clipped. Harlan noticed her left eye twitching when she blinked. After the last morning dog left, Mia sat on the small bench near the lockers. She didn't eat, just stared at the floor. "You all right?" Harlan asked. "Yeah, just tired. You want to take 10? She shook her head. "If I stop, I won't start again." He sat beside her, quiet for a moment. "You've been doing the work of 3 people since 7. "I'm used to it," she said. He looked at her. "That doesn't make it right." She finally met his eyes. The exhaustion there wasn't new, it was worn in, lived with. "I used to think if I just worked hard enough, someone would notice," she said. "Now I just try to avoid mistakes." He nodded slightly, then stood. "I'll clean the crates. You sit for 5 more." She didn't argue. Harlan walked into the kennel area. The last dog had knocked over his water bowl. He bent down to wipe it up, then paused. Near the trash bin, a clipboard leaned against the wall. It wasn't the daily chart. It was a disciplinary log. He flipped through the top pages. Several entries were marked against Mia. One for failure to meet appointment pacing. Another for using unapproved calming techniques. One noted a lack of urgency during grooming, all filed by Carla. He checked the dates. They spanned the last 6 weeks, coinciding with when Mia was scheduled to open alone more often. He put the clipboard back. By the time closing came, Mia had worked through 8 dogs. Carla left at 4:30, saying she had to review payroll. Harlan stayed behind to help sanitize the grooming tables and sweep out the dryers. They locked the doors at 6. Outside, the sun was dipping low, casting long shadows across the parking lot. Mia unlocked her bike and fastened her bag to the back rack. "You gonna be here tomorrow?" she asked. "Yeah," Harlan said. "Unless I get fired." She gave a faint smile. "I hope not." He watched her ride off, then stood alone in the empty lot. Inside the shop, silence had returned, but it wasn't peaceful. It felt like something had been buried there beneath the hum of dryers and the clatter of scissors. He pulled out his phone and opened the staff schedules from the past 3 months. There was a pattern. Whenever Carla worked a full day, support staff were light. When she left early, grooming loads were heaviest. Complaints from customers spiked on those days. And the disciplinary records, he would have someone from HR verify those. Quiet retaliation, if that's what it was, wasn't just unethical. It was dangerous. He stared at the schedule a moment longer, then locked the screen. Tomorrow wouldn't be a normal shift. Tomorrow, he'd push a little harder. And see who cracked first. By the time Harlan stepped through the back door the next morning, the air in the grooming center already felt heavier than the day before. No one had spoken yet. Mia was in early again. He could hear the distant rattle of her cart wheels moving between stations, setting out sanitized brushes and checking the dryers. It was a rhythm she didn't break. Harlan didn't speak either. Not at first. He took the silent cue and started wiping down the grooming tubs, checking water pressure and testing the heat settings. The nozzle on the second station sputtered for a moment before kicking in. He made a mental note. The chain's maintenance schedule rarely hit the outer locations on time. At exactly 7:50, Carla came in through the front with her usual coffee in hand and a backpack slung over one shoulder. She didn't acknowledge anyone, just walked straight to the back office and closed the door. Mia glanced up from the grooming table, eyes tired but focused. "You think she knows?" she asked. "No," Harlan answered. "Not yet." Mia didn't press further. She adjusted the guard on a clipper and plugged it in. The first appointment showed up at 8, a Shih Tzu named Daisy. Her owner, a woman in her 60s, clutched the dog tightly as she explained that Daisy had arthritis and didn't do well with being lifted. "I'll carry her," Harlan said, offering his arms. The woman hesitated for a moment, then slowly handed Daisy over. Once inside, Mia prepped the table with a padded mat and a low ramp. They worked together to settle Daisy, adjusting the table height gradually and avoiding sudden movements. No one raised their voice. No one rushed. Halfway through the grooming, Carla emerged, clipboard in hand. "You've got 3 walk-ins waiting," she said. "We're booked until 10, Mia responded without looking up. "They're regulars. You can't turn them away." "I'm not turning anyone away," Mia said, "but they'll have to wait." Carla set the clipboard down with more force than necessary. "I'll take one," Harlan offered. Carla stared at him a moment. "You don't have certification. Can't have you working alone." "He's not working alone," Mia said. "I'll supervise." Carla didn't reply. She turned and walked back toward the front. The walk-ins included a matted bichon, a retriever caked in mud, and a pit bull with visible skin irritation. Harlan took the retriever, guiding him into the tub and working silently. Water sprayed against dried dirt as the smell of damp fur filled the air. He kept his movements steady, careful not to pull at the coat. Between drying cycles, he caught pieces of conversation from the front lobby. Carla was on the phone, her voice low but clipped. "No, I don't have anyone else. If she calls out again, I'll write her up." A pause. "Well, maybe if people showed up, we wouldn't be stretched." He heard the click of the phone being set down. By 10:30, Mia had taken a short break to rest her wrists. Harlan sat across from her in the break area, peeling the label off a water bottle. "Does anyone from corporate ever come through here?" he asked. "Not in months," she said. "I think the last time it was just to check inventory. Most people don't stay long enough to care." "You ever think of leaving?" Mia lifted one shoulder. "Where would I go?" "Every grooming place in the area either pays less or expects you to finish dogs in half the time. At least here I know the layout." He nodded slowly, tracing a finger around the bottle cap. "You ever talk to Carla about any of the workload stuff?" "I tried once. She said I was being dramatic." Outside the break room, another dog had started barking, a low, distressed sound. Harlan stood up and stepped through the swinging door. A young woman in jeans and a hoodie stood at the counter holding a small, trembling spaniel. Her eyes were wide. "He doesn't like strangers," she said quickly. "He gets panic attacks. I usually stay with him." Carla stood behind the counter, arms crossed. "We don't allow owners in the grooming area. It's policy." "I know, but he's had seizures before." "I can just stand nearby. I won't say anything." "We're not making exceptions," Carla said. "You can pick him up in 2 hours." The woman glanced at the door, then back down at her dog, who was now breathing rapidly, his chest rising in shallow bursts. "I'll take him," Harlan said, stepping forward. "We've got the quiet room in the back, right?" Carla turned slowly. "That's for medical holds only." "He's showing signs of stress. It qualifies." Carla didn't answer, didn't nod, didn't object aloud either. Harlan stepped forward and extended his arms. The woman hesitated, then gently passed the dog over. "I'll stay with him," Harlan said. "You can come back in an hour. We'll call if anything happens." She nodded quickly, eyes glassy, then turned and left. Inside the quiet room, a low-lit grooming space near the back storage, Harlan set the spaniel on a towel and sat beside him. He didn't touch the clippers. Just let the dog sniff around, settle, and slow his breathing. After 10 minutes, he gently brushed out the fur behind the ears, talking in a soft, even tone. When he stepped back into the main room 20 minutes later, Carla was standing by the sink, arms folded again. "You're not in charge here," she said. "No, I'm not," Harlan replied. "But I don't have to ignore a dog that's about to go into shock." Don't talk to me about shock, she snapped. You've been here 3 days. You don't know what it's like running this place. I know what it's like watching someone else carry all the weight while you sit in the office. Her eyes narrowed. You don't know the pressure I'm under. I know Mia's been covering for no shows, doing double shifts without support. I know you've filed more write-ups than actual grooming notes, and I know you've left this building at 4 while staff stayed until 6. I have responsibilities above this floor. Then start acting like it. They stood in silence for a moment, the hum of dryers filling the space behind them. You're not just some trainee, she said finally. No, Harlan said. I'm not. He reached into his jacket and pulled out his wallet, sliding out a card. Her eyes caught the embossed logo before her hand did. Carla stared at it. Her face didn't change much, but her shoulders shifted just slightly, like she was trying not to lean on anything. You're Foster. I am, you've been, working here, observing, listening, watching. She said nothing. I saw the disciplinary binder, he added. I saw who signed them. Carla's jaw tightened. She's not reliable. She's the only reason dogs leave this place in one piece. Carla's silence stretched too long. Then she turned and walked toward the office. Harlan didn't follow. He went back to the grooming room where Mia was finishing a cut on a poodle with uneven fur. She didn't look up. You all right? He asked. I'm fine. I told her. Mia paused, clipper still in hand, told her what, who I am, why I'm here. She blinked slowly, then set the clipper down. What happens now? Things change. You gonna fire her? I'm going to talk to HR, look at her records, talk to the other stores she worked at, but she won't be running this place much longer. Mia nodded once, then turned back to the dog. Don't tell the others yet, Harlan said. Let me finish this the right way. She didn't answer, but she didn't object either. Outside, the sun had climbed higher. The lot was full again, with owners arriving, dogs barking, phones ringing intermittently. Inside, something had shifted, not fixed, not yet, but no longer ignored. By Thursday morning, the tone inside the grooming center had shifted subtly, but unmistakably. There was still tension, but it was different now. The kind that settles in when people sense something's about to change, but don't yet know whether to brace or breathe. Harlan arrived before opening again, but this time he didn't put on the hoodie or the ball cap. He wore a plain black crewneck and jeans, nothing flashy. The beard stayed. He didn't want to make it about theatrics. He wasn't there to perform authority. He was there to use it. Mia was already in the back, brushing out a border collie that had been dropped off early. She glanced over her shoulder when he walked in. You're not hiding today, she said. No reason to. He grabbed a broom and started sweeping near the kennels. They worked in quiet rhythm for a few minutes, the only sounds the soft shuffle of paws and the occasional shake of a collar. Did you talk to her again? She asked without looking up. Not yet. That's coming. She nodded once and didn't press further. At 8:15, Sylvia, district manager, walked through the front door with a clipboard tucked under one arm and a tight expression that didn't change when she saw Harlan standing by the counter. Her heels clicked against the tile. I got your message, she said. Appreciate you coming in person. She glanced around. Where's Carla? In her office. She doesn't know you're here yet. Sylvia's eyes narrowed slightly. You want to loop me in before we do this. I want you to hear it when she does. He led her toward the back office. The door was cracked an inch. Carla was inside, typing. She didn't look up when they entered. I'm in the middle of payroll, she said. Harlan stepped inside and closed the door behind Sylvia. You won't need to finish it. Carla's fingers hovered over the keys for a second, then dropped. This about yesterday? No, this is about everything that's been happening while you thought no one was watching. Her jaw tensed. You think you can just walk in here, dig through people's files, and decide who stays and who goes. I didn't need to dig, I listened, I watched. I saw how this place runs under your watch. I saw the write-ups. I saw who got help and who got ignored. Sylvia crossed her arms. We've had complaints about this store for months. I sent you summaries. You sent me sanitized versions. What I saw here wasn't miscommunication, it was mismanagement. People aren't quitting because the work's hard. They're quitting because they're invisible. Carla stood. You don't understand what it's like trying to keep a place like this from falling apart. People call out, customers yell, the schedule changes every week. I do what I have to do to keep it running. You kept it running by burning out your best staff and punishing them for not breaking in silence. Sylvia's voice cut in, measured and flat. We're going to conduct a full review of your disciplinary actions and scheduling practices. Effective immediately, you're suspended pending the outcome. Carla stared at her, then at Harlan. You're making a mistake. Harlan's gaze didn't shift. No, the mistake was trusting this store would stay healthy without attention. That ends today. She didn't argue further. She grabbed her bag, walked out without another word, and didn't look back. The door clicked closed behind her. Sylvia exhaled. You've got a lot of work ahead. This kind of cleanup doesn't happen in a week. I know, Harlan said. I'm not leaving until it's done. She nodded once. You'll want to meet with the team. He already had a plan. 30 minutes later, the staff gathered in the back grooming room. Mia, Lewis, and 2 part-timers. No one sat. The folding chair in the corner stayed empty. I'm not here today as your coworker, Harlan began. I'm here as the person responsible for this company. I've been working under a different name because I needed to see what was really happening, not what I was told. Lewis shifted his weight, eyes locked on the floor. You've all been under pressure that no one should have to carry alone. I saw it firsthand. The last few days have made it clear we've been failing you not just here but as a system. No one spoke. Harlan continued. Carla's been suspended. We're reviewing everything she put in your files. If you've been written up unfairly, it will be cleared. If you've been overlooked, we're going to fix that too. Mia finally met his eyes. I'm not here to make promises I can't keep, but here's what I can do. Until we find a new manager, I'll be overseeing this location directly. We're bringing in 2 support groomers next week to balance the schedule. And starting tomorrow, we're closing early on Sundays for the next 3 months to give everyone breathing room. One of the part-timers, a young guy with dyed green hair, raised his hand halfway. You actually shutting it down early, won't that hit revenue? It might, Harlan said. But it's a cost I'm willing to take if it keeps people from walking out. Lewis looked up. What about hiring? We've been at half capacity since May. We're adjusting the budget to raise base pay, and I'm assigning a floater from headquarters to rotate through the busiest shops. You're not going to be left short without backup again. Mia leaned against the counter, arms crossed. How long are you staying? As long as it takes to make this place something you're proud to walk into. The group broke, quiet but different, not cheerful, just a little less guarded. By mid-afternoon, a new energy had settled in. Lewis took 2 of the walk-ins without complaint. Mia handled the more difficult cut herself, but this time she didn't do it alone. Harlan worked beside her, helping where she needed, staying out of the way when she didn't. At closing, she cleaned her grooming table slower than usual. The mop bucket squeaked across the floor, the walls still smelled like damp fur and antiseptic, but the silence felt lighter. You really going to make good on all that? She asked without turning. I have to. Not because I'm the owner. Because I waited too long to listen. She looked over her shoulder. She made it harder than it needed to be, I know. I didn't think anyone would call her out. Neither did she. Mia folded the last towel, set it on the shelf, and headed for the back door. See you tomorrow? She asked. Yeah, he said. I'll be here. When the door shut behind her, he stood alone in the quiet again. The clippers were silent, the crates empty, but the building didn't feel hollow anymore. It felt like something was beginning again. He walked over to the appointment board and wiped it clean. Tomorrow, they'd start from scratch.